Okay, let me go live here. What's happening with this hair? All right, she's live. Let me go to Facebook. Hello out there. Hello, 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 Facebook and YouTube. Facebook and YouTube. If you on YouTube, say I'm here. Give me a heart. Give me a high five. What is the other? Give me a heart. Give me, I don't know. But if you're there, all right, let me go live on Instagram. I think we're wrecked. Okay. Laptop, don't play games. Don't play games during this conscious conversations. You've been acting up a little bit this week. Don't do it. Not in front of company, okay? Not in front of company. What's up on Insta Grizzy? Hi, y'all. Can y'all hear me over there? Can y'all hear me? What's up, Miss Tasha? Y'all, I'm about to get this together. Give me 1 second. I just gotta get my life together. Getyourlifetogether.com. Copy this. Hearts. Yes, look at those hearts. Okay, I receive it. Thank you for the love. All right. Okay. I'm going to turn off this thing over there. 1 second, y'all. Hold on. Make an yes, we'll do. I got to turn this off here, though. I need to put it somewhere else. Can you come back? All right, cool. While we are at it, while I'm trying to get my screens together for you all on Instagram land. Okay, so here's what we're doing. Okay, so y'all know we do this every week, and there's been some talk about, well, you're not looking at us on Instagram or you're not looking at us on Facebook, and we want to have one eye line. No, that's not really why it is. I would like you all to move over to YouTube or Facebook. I got the Facebook people in, so that you guys can talk to us on Instagram. Hey, Dr. Brenda. Hey, Sequence. If you guys can go over to youtube.com, go to Shamika Chronicles. That way you all can join the conversation with us. Y'all know how it is on Instagram. These comments go up so fast, and y'all be like, but why you ain't answer my question? Because Instagram is not made for that, right? So come on over to YouTube, Shamika Chronicles, so that y'all can add yourselves to the conversation and we can all talk and we can see your comments and nobody gets left out, all that good stuff. But give me 1 second as I'm trying to maneuver. Oh, here we go. Rev Cherie, you ready? Hey, Miss Glenda. Give me a thumbs up if you read for me to bring you on. Nope. Okay, great. Yep. We're going to see who's over here though. Okay, thank you, Sequence. So yeah, when y'all get over to YouTube or Facebook, let me know you're here. Say we're here and we're ready to talk. We're ready to have a conversation, a conscious conversation about Dear Edward. All right, let me get the Facebook people in the building. They're probably like, when we gonna get let in the building? Right about edit audience, make it public. Booyah. The next incarnation of this show is me having a soundboard, and one of those sounds will be burr, 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 burr. I'm gonna have that sound. I'm that girl. I need sound effects. Okay. All right, let me focus. Just giving some folks enough time to get back in here. Boop. Go live with Rev Cherie Speaks. Give it up for the one, the only, Rev Cherie Speaks. Coming up on Instagram. All right, I'm going to bring her up here on YouTube. Yes, there you are. Let me see if I can hear you over here.
Hey.
Oh, hey. You sound like that audio trend. Hey, how y'all doing?
I'm so happy to.
Hold on 1 second. I'm getting you in my ear. One moment. I can't hear you yet. It's connected. Oh, Instagram. 1 second.
Okay, I hear you now.
Yeah, but you're going to hear echo because it's not in my ear yet.
Okay.
You ready for me to bring you on for the, what do you call it? Oh, come on.
I'm as ready as ready's going to get today.
Okay. I may have to close the Instagram and come back. Give me 1 second.
Oh,
because my Bluetooth is not picking up. All right. Oh, yes, we got the folks over here. Adding you to the stream.
Hey, friends. Oh, what's going on right here? Sorry, guys. I'm having a makeup malfunction. Hey, friends. Hey, Shamika.
Well, maybe I just turn it down like that. Let me see. No, it's going to. Oh, wait. I think this is it. No, okay. Give me Bluetooth. Where is it? No.
All right.
Okay. Almost.
Hey, everybody out there. So good to see you today. I am here.
Let's try it again.
I am here.
Have you all watched episodes 1, 2, and 3?
Uh-oh. It's buffering.
Yes, it's in my ear. Awesome.
Instagram
It's in
land.
my ear. Instagram. Okay, so like we said, Instagram. Y'all, come on over to YouTube so we can talk to y'all.
Uh-oh, that's me echoing.
Awesome. Oh.
I can't hear you over. I'm gonna have to I'm not getting great Instagram. Should I come out and then we start that one over?
What do you mean you're not getting great Instagram? What's happening? Do you have an earpiece in?
You're
for
circling.
Instagram?
I hear you. I hear you through Instagram, but it's anyway. I'm not gonna worry about it. Hey,
No.
if you're on Instagram, let us know if you can see Shamika. Is she? Can you hear her? Can you see her? Because you're circling for me, but you know how
Okay.
that
Let's
goes.
see. You want to leave and come back out? You want to go and then come back out into Instagram? We'll see what they
Let's
say.
try that.
Okay, so you can so leave and then come back and I'll invite you back to Instagram. But like I said, if you all are on Instagram, SCPA family for life, SCPA family, I wanted to just say something, but it went so fast. I wanted to see who it was, but I missed it. So come on over to Shamika Chronicles on YouTube so I can see who that was. So okay, great. Who was that? Branson Wright Films. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, Anjave, are you on the Instagram? Hey, Adrian, you can see and hear us okay? No echoes, Adrian? No echoes? Awesome. And can y'all hear us okay on Instagram too? All right, let's see what we got over here. Hey, okay, so who's in the house over here on YouTube? All right, we have Dr. Brenda. We got Unique. T3IP is in the house. We have Simply Ari is here. Sequence Multivitamins is in the house, and they'll be back in the house tomorrow for What You Talking About. Have y'all seen our announcement for What You Talking About? We're going to have a wonderful conversation with Dr. Greg Hall. It's going to be amazing. Dr. Brenda Belton. All right. Who else is here? Miss Glenda. All right. Yes. Thank you so much, Unique. She says, everyone, please like, share, and subscribe to Shamika Chronicles on Instagram and on YouTube. All right. Who else we got? Yes, Dr. Brenda. All right, Miss Parker. No, Mr. Parker. Yes. Good to go on YouTube. Awesome. All right. We're just going to wait for Rev Cherie to come back. So, do y'all, okay. So this week we are talking about episodes 2 and 3. We're going to give some folks some time to catch up. So next week we are talking about episodes 4 and 5. And then after that, we're going to just have one episode per week. So we're giving you all a chance to catch up before we have some spoilers or whatnot. But yes, while we're waiting, I can talk to y'all over here on Instagram land. What's up, KM Cooley? All right. Yes. Thank you so much for that. Let's see. So much to talk about. Let me tell you, I had to have my tissue handy watching the episode. So many just beautiful moments, and I can't wait to talk about them with y'all. Actually, I have some more notes right here. Let me get these notes. We are going to get started shortly. Y'all talk to me in the chat. Talk to me nice in the chat. Hey, for those of y'all over on Instagram, we're going to invite you to come on over to Shamika Chronicles on YouTube so you can come in here and chat with us. Yes, Dr. Brenda Repcherie's hair is so gorgeous. 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 All right, she's going to be getting right back on to Instagram in a second. Please add my questions or comments. Yes, please add any questions or comments in YouTube or on Facebook. Who's on Facebook? Anybody on Facebook? Where the Facebook people at? Facebook, where you at? Facebook, where you at? Let me hear you say, okay. Well, you know, it's a thing. Okay, here we go. Here she comes. Hey, Kwame in the house. Kwame, come on over to YouTube.
Did I accept it?
C3IP is representing.
I made it. Okay, so I don't know what I'm on, but I'm on. Can y'all hear me? No? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry. I'm
okay.
like, Were you talking about P-Valley season 2? Okay. Kiera,
Somebody wants some throwback. She wants some
we're not
throwback
talking
to
about
P-Valley.
This is Conscious Conversations, Dear Edward edition on Apple TV Plus. We're taking a whole new journey for this season of Conscious Conversations. We're doing a whole new show. And so we hope that you will join us on this amazing journey called Dear Edward. Dear Edward. Man, come on over to YouTube so you can type in the chat and have your voice be heard.
I just looked over here at the comments. How was I missing all these good comments? Hey, everybody. Thank you, Dr. B. Thank you, Dr. B. You all know I'm gearing up. It's so cool to see everybody. I'm looking over here at both of them, at both of the streams, but it's so cool to see you all. We got a fun conversation coming up. I'm Reverend Cherie. I am the assistant minister at Up Church, and I serve at Christ Universal Temple as well as the lead of digital ministry. I'm so really just touched to be able to come in and celebrate. This is really a celebration of Shamika and looking at her step into her greatness. And so I'm here to support that. And then in addition to that, I get to talk about one of my favorite things, which is TV. So win-win. We celebrate Shamika. I get to talk about TV and all is right in the world. So it has been a week since we've been together. We talked about the premiere episode of Dear Edward, and we got to meet all of these wonderful characters and to see how they interconnect together. So that was kind of setting the stage, and we got to meet Cora, the lovely Cora. Very briefly in that first episode, but now we see the drama coming as we look at episode 2 and 3. And so, Shamika, let's do a little plot summary of 2. So episode 2, somebody said definitely grab the tissues for it. Let's talk about a little bit about that, because what I'm going to try to do is keep 2 and 3 separate in my mind, because
yes, let's try it that way.
I watched them back to back. So episode 2, we learned 2 things, right? So we learned that let's talk about Cora, and let's talk about the Congresswoman. So we got to see more of Cora, and she made a request of the Congresswoman's granddaughter. So let's talk about that particular moment. Okay,
so some jump right in. Where yeah. So
wait.
I wanted to talk about something in the beginning. What?
Yes.
What are you thinking?
Please go to the beginning. Yes, that's a good feel. Let's go to the beginning a little bit.
Yes, because there is something really great about the beginning of episode 2 that I wanted to talk about, and that is it opens up with this beautiful choir singing "Precious Lord," right? And they are at the funeral for Congresswoman Washington, my boss. And that moment when we were filming that was so um, so spiritual. So, and I don't know if when you watched, you could feel like you could feel the spirit of that choir. And I'm looking for the name of the woman who led the choir. But did you know that the name of that choir is the Late Show Gospel Choir? Did you all know that?
Really?
Yeah, the Late
No.
Show Gospel Choir.
I
Hmm.
know that these choirs will they get hired. Up Church Choir actually was has done a couple of things like that with When Touched by an Angel was on the air, and but I didn't know that a choir would, that's kind of like what their main thing was. That's cool.
Yes.
That's cool.
And what was so interesting and funny to me about filming that, but not funny like ha, it was just, it just tickled me, was that the choir came and brought all of the spirit. They didn't say like, oh, this is a funeral scene for a TV. They brought it like it was a real funeral. Right. So the
Mhm.
spirit was so full in that place. And so they brought the Black funeral experience. Okay. And I really feel like some people in the crew were just like, oh, what's happening right now? They could feel it, just in the room. And so and like even when they did a take and they sang and the director had called cut, but they didn't hear it. They were just in the spirit, just going on and on because they were just giving the truth of the moment. And I thought that that was really
Mhm.
special. And I could still feel it when I watched it. And I think that that's something that speaks to, you can only feel something when the person that is performing it feels it first. And so the
Yeah.
fact that I can feel it, that means that that's what they were really giving and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
that was
Mhm.
really great.
Mhm.
The woman, the lead singer, her name is Lady Pichena, I think. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but yeah, she's been a while, been around for a little while, just singing and just being really great.
No, thank you for acknowledging that. Like that was a very powerful scene, and I think that anytime, I'm a gospel choir girl. Like I
Mhm.
love a good gospel choir.
Yeah.
But I thought it was befitting the congresswoman, at least like the woman that I saw who seemed to be a deep, soulful person. Like so that
Hmm.
scene really kind of spoke a little bit about more. We got to know a little bit more about her in
Hmm.
there. And yeah, and so this dynamic with her and her granddaughter, just so that in case you haven't seen the first episode, this is a prominent congresswoman whose granddaughter works for her. Tell me the granddaughter's name again.
Adriana.
Adriana. So
Hmm.
Adriana is where we discovered that that's her grandmother, and she's the one who's dealing with like on the boots. Like she put her in a position to really engage her with the community, and we see that she has a heart for the community. That
Hmm.
Adriana has a heart for the community, but it's breaking her heart, and she doesn't think that she can keep doing the work. And her grandmother is like, "You're next. Like I see you next. 2026. Like I'm gonna retire, and it's gonna be all you." And her grandmother is in that fatal airplane crash, and
Hmm.
so she does not get to 2026, but the charge of "you're next" was definitely her last word essentially to her granddaughter, right? "I love you,"
Hmm.
as she was saying, "I can't do this anymore," but she had just given her that charge. So we see in the next episode that Cora, who was her chief of staff,
Hmm.
is and who has been a committed, showing, doing the work, right?
Hmm.
Is interested in taking her seat and running for her seat. So
Yeah.
that is so there begins the drama, and she's asking Adriana for her support.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I
So
think, yeah.
I know more comes in episode 3, but let's talk a little bit about that particular moment.
I think that Cora is really equipped. I mean, she's worked for the Congresswoman for 14 years. And I think that it would be great because when you think about it, Cora must have helped the Congresswoman so much develop her initiatives, been boots on the grounds, as well as help establish relationships and things like that, and
Hmm.
help to run the office. And so I think Cora is perfect to carry the torch, to take on the living legacy of Congresswoman Washington.
Yeah.
So so yeah, and I think that that is something when you have a person who is so beloved and so powerful and has done so much work, and when they pass on, trying to find out who's going to carry on that work. I think that that's a common thing that institutions and organizations have to figure out in order to stay alive, to keep their legacy, to keep the work that they did alive.
But you know the thing that bumped me about that, right? Because we know that there's some drama in that Adriana reveals, I think it's in episode 2, that maybe it's 3, that she felt some kind of way when Cora asked for her blessing. Like, basically, will you endorse me as the next person? And I get that her grandmother had given her a charge, and that, you know, she was that reluctant. You can see that there is something special about her. And there's the reluctancy to take on this role at this space of her life. Like, you know, you can just think about if you know, you're somebody that's older than you, let's just put it that way, and they've blazed trails, and it's like, I'll be good, I'll be ready for that later down the line, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But she didn't feel herself to be ready at that point. Yeah. However, Cora, on the other hand, was committed. Well, not but is committed, is in the game, has risen to the space of chief of staff, studying under a master, and is saying, I want to, like, I'm ready to take that next step. And this isn't how this isn't how I wanted to take that step, but this is the next, I'm ready for that next step. So I might be Team Cora. And it's not just because you're playing that role, Shamika, but it's like there's a, little sidebar. Some of you may have seen the Super Bowl. Some of you may have seen the Super Bowl halftime performance. Okay. So I was discussing with a friend of mine literally before we got on the Zoom about what we thought about that performance. Now, we were all together when the Super Bowl was on and did not think that this was the comment I gave. I don't think Rihanna closed her activity rings with that performance. That's how I felt. I felt like it was low energy. I felt like it was a dance rehearsal for the dancers, and she was just the stand-in. Okay, there, I said it. So we were comparing that, though, generationally, and thinking about the power of work ethic and how there's something that I admire about good work ethic. Mm-hmm. And the performers, you know, she's like, we grew up in the age of Michael Jackson and of Prince and of, you know, performers who went all out, right? Like, there was something about that ethic. And maybe that's not the same ethic that people carry right now. Like, no, and the example she gave was MC Hammer. She said, we grew up with shows. Like, you came with it. But our standards have changed, right? And so there was a lot of apologies and excuses about it. And mind you, I'm a mom. I've been pregnant. I know what pregnant tired feel like. I know what sometimes your doctor telling you to sit down somewhere feels like. But that's when you get people to come in and support your effort, right? Like, you don't go do it all by yourself. You get someone to come in because it's the halftime, right? It's the big moment. And maybe what you need to do to be your best self is share that moment to take some of the burden off of you. That's Sheree Thompson's opinion about it. I bring it up because the idea of work ethic. So that's what I saw in Cora, is that somebody who has demonstrated work ethic, demonstrated preparedness, and is stepping up for opportunity is going to be challenged. Mm-hmm. And I see that coming for her, that there's going to be a challenge because someone has a gut feeling, intuition, like this could be my path. Yeah. A whim about it, as opposed to someone who has proven conviction. So there it is. I'm Team Cora. I just made it official. Well, I just made it official.
I too am Team Cora. Yeah, who's Team Cora? Y'all are right. Y'all like Shamika Delver, Team Cora. But no, maybe you all are like, you know, but I commend her desire, right? And I can understand feeling a strong calling, but are you ready for that? Are you really ready? You know,
like, so maybe to me, it's like she should have stepped into your position to say, all right, I'm ready to move up now and to learn, because there's still more to learn, right? Like, as her granddaughter, she didn't see the full work that it took to be in her grandmother's shoes, right? So to see, okay, so that's not to get into not to get too deep into that, but I definitely have a feeling a respect for work ethic, and and I think that and I felt like Cora's doing it right, right? Let me go and talk to her granddaughter and let her know my interest. Not to, like, it's just from a PR perspective, it was right, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I hate that this is going to become a big place of drama, but it's a drama and we're supposed to
Mm-hmm.
have big places of drama.
Yeah. But how great that we have these
Yeah.
two women who actually want to help and do something for the community, right? At
Mm-hmm,
least someone
mm-hmm.
cares and
Yeah.
wants to. You can tell that they both care, but it's just a
Yeah.
matter of experience and criteria. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and mind you, there's also beauty in legacy, right? Like Dr. B says, if you look around
Yeah.
the country, so much politics is about legacy and politics, right? It's like the family business, right? So I'm going to help you get into the family business. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that in this instance, it's going to be interesting to see how this develops and how, there's this idea of someone inheriting, like Eric said, inheriting a position versus someone who has proven and earned it. So
Mm-hmm.
so that'll be some juicy drama. The other thing that we were introduced to in episode 2 is the grief group, right? So we got to see and
Yeah.
meet this place where I'm guessing that we're going to keep getting to experience the characters intertwining as they heal from this tragic occurrence, right?
Mm-hmm.
We got to meet, so let me see, we got to meet the so what I loved is Connie Britton's character, because
I
she looked
love
like she was
Connie.
there to be the therapist, right? She's there and they thought she was the leader, but she was in her mode, right? You can
Yeah.
see I won't say that she was being fake, right? But you
No.
could see that she is the queen of the right facade, right?
Wait,
It
hold on. You
seems
think
like
there was a facade? You don't
no,
I
I mean, there are people
oh.
who know how to pull it together and show up as, you know what I mean? Everything's
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
I get that from her. Everything's okay, right? My husband's not here. He sent me this strange text. Everything's okay, baby girl. Like she's that rah-rah cheerleader, what that
Mm-hmm.
rah-rah cheerleader looks like as an adult.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'll just sidebar real quick. One thing I regret that I did not do at the premiere was go get a hug from Connie Britton. Don't she look like she get the best hugs?
She does it like she get the best hugs.
Right? It
Yeah.
feels like there's a
And like she'll
complete
say, she'll say sugar in your ear.
mm, yes,
I
yes,
love
yes,
her.
yes.
Yeah.
I feel like when Linda's character, right? So Linda is the one who finds herself pregnant.
Mhm.
Her boyfriend was on the plane and she comes to the grief group and she has a moment where she just needs to say something and she asks Connie's character Dee Dee, can she confide in her? And I really thought that was a beautiful moment. So
Mhm.
many beautiful moments in that grief session, so many powerful
Yeah.
moments, but
You could feel
just
her loneliness,
yeah.
you could feel her loneliness of like somebody who was the most important person in the world to her and
Hmm.
what feels like one of the only important people in the world to her.
Yeah.
Tragically, not being there at this moment of where you should feel so excited and,
Hmm.
and now it's just a lot of fear.
Yeah. So I wrote down this quote, okay, because there are so many delicious lines in here, but this was one that really touched me because when I think about this show and how it's just this large ensemble of characters that we get to meet, and to me, it always makes me think about all the people that we walk around and meet in our day to day life, and you just never
Mhm.
know what someone is going through, right? How many times have you been that person that's crying in public, right? Especially in New York, right? If you're in New York, have you ever just seen someone just crying on the train, or have you been that person that's just having this emotional moment in public? But so many times we see people going through things. Well, no, we see people and we don't know that they're going
Right.
through things. When we first
Right.
saw Dee Dee coming in, I was just taken by how well put together she looked, how she was carrying this wonderful box of cupcakes. And on the outside, if you didn't know, you think that her world was so perfectly put together. You wouldn't understand that she was right in the throes of this really huge traumatic event in her life. So
Mhm.
that's one thing that this show really speaks a lot to for me. And then this is what Linda said. She says, I have no one. And I'm wandering around the city just thinking that maybe Gary's going to send me a sign. Like, how many times have you just felt like you're just wandering around life, just feeling lost, looking for a sign
Mhm.
that there's hope or something, you know? And so
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
line really touched me.
I think that the grief group in general is a beautiful idea because, I'm a firm believer in the power of community.
Hmm.
And I think that if you are struggling, if you are succeeding, it's like there's no space where community can't be a blessing. And I say this about church community a lot because, one of the things that I would see at my church is that when people were going through a lot, they'd be at church every Sunday, right? And they'd be soaking up all the information in classes and, getting prayer and all of that. And then when things start to go well, they start to disappear. And one of the things that I told a member who was just really sharing like why she wasn't in church, we were just loving and missing each other.
Hmm.
And what I said to her is, so one of the things now that you are, she's a little bit more mature in the ministry, that your responsibility, now that you've healed and you are in a good space, now your responsibility is to hold space for someone else and stand in the space for someone else, because someone else may walk through those doors and need to see you in your good place.
Yeah.
Like you may be what they're anchored onto and holding on to, and it's like if things are working out for her, maybe it could work out for me. I said, so there's a role for us all to play. And so I love how this community is coming together with the sole intent, like the facilitator said, hey, this is just here, we're just here for you to talk, right? And if anybody in here is a therapist, a coach, a trainer, you know how hard it can be to trust the process and to let those conversations happen. So I was just watching the masterful way that storyline was written, because that's not easy, to literally sit in the silence and hope that people will show up and begin to experience the dynamic of the community, like to take part in it.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
pretty powerful.
And
Mhm.
so what that made me think of about the very beautiful way in which the therapy session got started, you right, it came from this complete space of silence, right?
Mhm.
Waiting, not forcing it, allowing the people who are there in a group, allowing them to call their healing into the space, not trying to make it be what the therapist needs it to be, right? And I just think that there is something so powerful about just sharing silence with someone.
Mhm.
Sometimes that's all you need, right?
Mhm.
Just be here in this space with me. And you mentioned something about holding on. The theme song, the opening credit for this show, the song Hold On, right? Just hold on, you know? Sometimes you need someone just to hold that space with you. And it reminded me of this really just phenomenal artist. Her name is Marina Abramovich. Do you know about Marina Abramovich?
Mm-mm.
Let me tell you about her. So, she is a Serbian conceptual and performing artist. And what she does is she travels around the world. And I forget where she was the last time that she was here in New York. Well, she was at a museum and she would hold a minute of silence with everyone who came by. And
Mm.
she would just, you would go, they had a table, a huge empty room, people just standing around watching the moments. And then one by one, people would come and they would just gaze at each other. I'm telling you, look it up. It is so powerful.
Mhm. Mhm.
And yes, her name is Marina Abramovich. Look her up and see it. And I think that this is just a really wonderful reminder of how simple it is to hold space with someone. Even we did that when we do our prayer chaplain training, right? About
Mhm. Mhm.
just silently just think of a word. I do it with
Mhm.
my interns too. Think of a word. What's your intention? All right, we're going to hold that space. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. It's power. Yeah. And here's the thing, in terms of just this, something that you can do with people in your experience is, let's try this. Like let's I do this with friends all the time sometimes, just to kind of give them permission to be quiet, permission to focus on the word, permission to just breathe. Like, you'd be surprised that sometimes somebody just telling you to breathe. It's like, oh, I didn't realize I've been shallow breathing all day, until someone invited you to take a deep breath with them. But it is very, very just again touching that this community is coming together, that sacred silence together. And then in that gap, it seemed like everybody said, okay, I'm in, right, by the first one, right? So it was I'll have these characters' name, I promise y'all, down next week. But it was the character who's been having miscarriages, and her and so she is the aunt of the only
Lacey.
survivor of ever. Yeah, so Lacey
Mm.
just basically saying how inadequate she feels in this role. And we get to see how that what her experience with Edward is doing is triggering, of course, and she's connected it to, maybe that's why I haven't been able to conceive, right? Or to bring or to give birth, is because I'm not a good mother. And it's something interesting about when you think about your life experience, that you're always looking at your life through a lens, right? A lens that's a story you're telling yourself about yourself. And so, as opposed to an event just happening and it's happening in your experience, you're looking at it through the lens that you see yourself. Like, so if I see myself as a victim, every experience that I have is going to reflect a victim mentality. If I look at myself, like, there's someone who sees me in their experience as really the villain in their life, right? And so I can say to this person, is there anything that I can do for you? And what they will hear is that there's no compassion. You didn't really mean that. You know what I mean? Or to say, take the time you need. It's okay. I got you. What they hear is something completely opposite, because they're listening and looking at their life through the lens of, I'm looking at a villain. And that is, but we're doing that. And so what I and here's just full disclosure, one of the lenses I look at my life through is that everything is working together for good, that it's all good. And so that's an annoying lens to listen through if you want to be upset about things, and if you want to vent. Like, I have to literally have my friends tell me audibly, I need to vent, because my inclination is harmony. My inclination is working together, seeing the bright side. But to be a friend to the people in my experience, I've learned how to be with them in the darkness and just let them be there, right? To resist the desire to bring the light, right? Let's just sit in the darkness together, right? You're upset, you're angry, the world sucks. Let's just be there, and I can be there with you, right? And so that's what I've learned, right? And so it's not easy being Cherie's friend, but that's what I've learned, right? It's to give people that space. I don't know how I got on that, but that happened.
The space called for you to say it. That's how we got there. The people who are here wanted to hear that. And while we're here at this moment, if you are on Instagram, come on over to Shamika Chronicles on YouTube so you can join the conversation and you can chat with us and have your voice be heard. Another thing that I really would love to hear your perspective about, because this is a deep one, okay? All right, we're about to deepen the conversation and expand consciousness, okay? Consciousness. So one of the things that happened, and we're still on episode 2, and we'll get to 3, but this moment here where Edward has a moment where he decides what his name is going to be. He decides what he wants to be called. He has a moment where he decides that he is no longer Eddie, that he is now Edward. So, Rev Cherie, I would really love to hear what you have to say about what that means when you change your name, or when a name changes. Right?
Name changes are so deep. So I'll go with the surface ones, right? When you become Mrs. somebody or Mr. or you're not, now you're somebody's husband. Name changes happen on so many different levels, right? And the reality is that sometimes the name changes are necessary. Like it's like I need to. I'm moving into another thing, right? When you get the name Mother, that name change changes everything, right? I used to say it changes how I go to the bathroom. When I used to see little fingers grasping under the door for me, like name change, nature, name. When we're looking at scripture at a deeper level, on an allegorical or metaphysical level, we know that name means nature, right? So when you see a name change, you see a nature change, and sometimes you become a new person with these new names, right? And so some of them are roles we play. But what's deep about Edward is that in that moment, Eddie died. Eddie didn't die. Like he survived the car crash. I mean, the plane crash. But Eddie died the moment that he said, "My name, call me Edward." It was that that was the moment. He was not. So Edward survived the car crash, the plane crash, but Eddie didn't. It was powerful. It was really, really powerful and poignant. And for him to have the frame of mind. I mean, the Edward is so special, like such a special kid. Um, Kwame says that a name change can be liberation. Yes, yes, yes. And sometimes you might need to free yourself from the name. If there can be a lot of your name tied to an identity, to an experience that you had. I've had friends who have literally changed their names because that person went through something that they were now through. They had died to that experience, and they were reborn as with this new name, and they chose new names for themselves. And I say, whatever you need to do to mark your transformation, do that, right? Like if you are, and sometimes it may be intentional, right? The name that you're calling yourself may be that I don't subscribe to this nickname anymore. And so you may enroll people in that process with you, or you may just refer to yourself differently. But name changes are always, don't take something lightly when someone asks you to call them a different name. Respect the space that they're in, because you don't know what's behind that shift, either that they shifted or they need to shift. You don't know where they are with that. So like I had a friend, it took me maybe a year to consistently call her by her new name. And now it's like I have to think of who I'm talking to think of what era you knew her, because they may not know her by her new name, like it's I have to think. But that's how much she is no longer that person on such a deep level that it's hard to remember that name. So but I worked to respect that name change.
Mm-hmm.
Not to we don't have to go down this rabbit hole, Shamika, if you don't want to, but one of the name changes I struggled with throughout the pandemic, and I had very close conversations with a lot of my really good mommy friends, and some of them are going through an experience with their children that are having who are taking on new gender pronouns, and I tell you, gender pronouns were a challenge for me, because I can absolutely respect the name that you want to be called, but when you started messing with my grammar, I had a lot of resistance. I didn't want to call a single person they. I did not want it. It's like I just had this whole thing, and I'm so grateful for these real raw conversations, because I was able to hear myself. I was able to accept that that's where I am, and then I was able to then start to, in the safe space, make a shift in my awareness, make a shift in how I showed up, and respect the name change. Respect that even at these young ages, they are discovering themselves, and I should never thwart discovery. I should never hamper in any way, be a part of someone feeling like they cannot fully express themselves. Like that, it's bigger than me not wanting to change my pronoun game. It was bigger than that, and I'm grateful for those. But just having those kind of communities where I could be real.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Unique said it took her a while to change her married name because it was death to the person I have always been, and showing the realization that I was moving into a deeper level of who I am. It took time. Yes. Miss Glenda said same thing with the pronouns.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the pronouns were, like I said, it's difficult, and the judgment, oh my gosh. Let me tell you something horrible I said when I was growing up, we just called them tomboys.
Mm.
I said that. And I had to own that that was horribly insensitive. I didn't say it to them. I was saying it in my safe circle. But
Mhm.
oh my gosh, like it's like I want to honor the experience that people are having, right? It is it's a reach because we want to put people in a box so that we can move through life easier, right? If everybody can just kind of be in a category, but to see any people for them for their individual way that they're showing up takes
Mhm.
work.
Yeah.
It takes work.
You got to stop and
Yeah.
see the person. You got to
Hmm.
stop and be
Yeah.
present.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's hot. That's
Yeah.
hot.
So this episode, let's talk about the title before we go on to episode 3. So the
Yes.
title of this episode was Food.
Hmm. Hmm.
What do you think about these titles? So the first one was Pilot, not just because it was the
Hmm.
pilot episode, but Pilot, plane crash.
Right.
Okay. And so then we have this episode called Food. And so for me, um, that was very powerful for me when I just thought about that. Like, I don't think
Hmm.
I didn't think about that before. The name of this episode, it wasn't until I watched it. Um, and when I saw the scene between Lacey and Edward, that I remembered how when I was going through grief, I could not eat. And I'm so glad that that was a part of the conversation of this episode
Hmm.
of
Hmm.
acknowledging that. And I love that she took him to a grocery store for him to find whatever he could get the appetite to eat, whatever he could, whatever he liked. And so I remembered that when I was going through that period of grief and I wasn't able to eat, there was only one thing that I could eat, and that was apples with crunchy peanut butter, because I knew if I put that in my mouth, I would chew it because I liked how it tasted,
Hmm. Hmm.
And then it reminded me of something else that helped me when I was going through grief and unable to eat. One of my line sisters, Toyette, she would always check on me and say, "Did you eat?" And then sometimes what she would do is she would leave me video messages of her eating. So it would turn on my appetite to want to eat.
Oh, that's so
Right.
beautiful.
And then I think about my guilty pleasure, and I ain't guilty about it. I love it. I'm going to say it right here. I love to watch mukbangs or mukbangs. Do y'all know what that is? I
It's
love
the
to
most
watch.
bizarre thing.
I love to watch people eat. And when I watch it, my mouth just moves because I feel like I'm eating that food. But I say that to say, did you know that some therapists prescribe to their patients who are having appetite issues, having problems eating? They'll say, go watch mukbangs, and it helps them get their appetite back.
Oh, that's interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, they gross me out a little bit. I don't like to watch people eating well, maybe it's eating and talking to me on Zooms. Maybe that's specific to that. I don't like people to be on a Zoom with me eating, and I didn't ask for that. I didn't engage in anyway.
Right.
But I think that the food and how it was so dire, right? That they were like, he has to eat, or we're going to have to put a feeding tube in this kid. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that was really, really profound. And again, when you know how, like I said, we look at our life through the lens that we see ourselves. And Lacey, right? It's Lacey is his aunt, right?
Yes, I believe so.
So Lacey believing that she is not a good mom, and we see that she's hypersensitive about her diet. Like, so
Mm-hmm.
the fact that she said go and eat everything was counter to her own inner guidance, right? Like, that's not, she's careful about ingredients and all of that. And he's putting every snack, every sugary thing that you can think of in his cart. And I thought that was that just watching her and her uncomfortable. He even said, "Are you okay with this?" Like, when they were eating the corn dogs, "Are you okay with this?" So I saw her stretch a little bit in that moment where it was like, I can love beyond the rules that I set up. Like, these rules that have been guiding and constricting me, like, so we can see how Edward is going to expand her territory and expand her view, and maybe even heal her from some of that feeling of inadequacy.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Oh, we getting so close to the time. I wanted to say one more
Yes.
thing
Okay.
about the moment in the grocery store. Was that in
Yeah,
episode 2?
that's episode 2. Yes. That was
So the girl coming to hug him.
at first I was like, this is so wrong. You cannot do that. Girl, no. But then I started to be like, oh, do I really feel that way? How did you feel? Because that's how I felt. How did you feel about it?
I think about when we're trying to be there for somebody, right? Like he's not a celebrity, right? Even though he has fame now, like he's
Yeah.
known.
Mm-hmm.
And, he's of course trying to reconcile his world, and a moment of normalcy, which is like excitement over something to eat, gets interrupted with memory of his loss. Like that's what I saw. But the girl was coming with such a a space of love, you know what I mean? Like it was really loving. And so I felt I could feel, she didn't know that she came and interrupted and disrupted his whole mood. But the thing that she gave him to hold on to is interesting.
Right.
And I guess we're going to learn more about that maybe. But I thought that was deep. And then the last thing I wanted to say about it was that doll, and then it was his brother. Somebody put that earlier in the chat. We didn't talk about the brother at all. That Edward's brother has been a part of his lived experience.
Yeah.
And that he hadn't realized that his brother died until that moment that she said it out loud.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that? That he thought his brother was still with him and they were grieving together.
Yeah. Until
she hugged him and said, "I'm so sorry about your brother." And then he remembered. Yeah. So because they set it up a little bit in the beginning where he thought that his brother had made it out too when they were holding hands. But him in the bed, and they're having these conversations. And then when Lacey comes and she hears him at the door talking to his brother. Yeah. And then him and his girl, our little skater. Shay?
Yes.
Is her name Shay?
Is her name Shay? I think so.
But that little friendship is starting to be really cute. And she was like, because she's not like a bright and sunny kind of girl. You know what I mean? She's like, you want to stay here? You want to?
Yeah.
But he needed to be in her company, and to hear her say those words helped him to rest. Like like I said, just such a beautiful soul. This character is Edward. But I had to just mention that part about him remembering and waking up from that figment that his brother was still on earth.
Yeah. Speaking of Shay, that makes me think of something in episode 3, right? That another line that just hit me. So she's outside and she's doing her roller derby practice or whatnot, and this is when we see the dynamic of that she has a father. There's something about her father, right? And Edward asked her something about the coat that she had put on the pillar or whatever. She had the coat there, and she said, "I needed something soft to crash into." So that when she's doing her roller derby thing, she used her father's coat because she needed something soft to crash into. What a line to give to a little girl, though.
Yeah.
The way she delivered that, I was just like, "Ooh."
It's some beautiful moments in this show, man. Like I think it's such a blessing for you to be a part of transformative work, right? So I know on Instagram earlier, someone was talking about P Valley. We're gonna talk about P Valley season 2, and P Valley is a transformative work. Like it is rich, and it is provocative, and it's deep, and it's spiritual, and it's gritty, right? And I think that this show has the heart. Like they both have a heart, and it's just showing the heart in a different way. But yeah, what a great space to be in, because there's so much depth in both of these stories. So what you're magnetic to is so cool. It's so cool to witness.
I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that I get to tell these stories. Absolutely.
Very cool. So we didn't get at all into episode 3,
We
but
got 5 minutes. Episode 3
we
is
got 5
called
minutes. Okay.
Stuff. Just talk about the title. That'll take you right into what we're talking about. Let's talk about stuff. The stuff that Dee Dee has to go through. Let's go back to the Lonely Pilgrim. That text message was bizarre. And we see that it is opening up quite the Pandora box.
He got a whole condo with a whole life and a whole hobby. I was like,
yeah.
Mouth was on the floor. I mean, I knew, I suspected that he was cheating on her, right? That was my suspicion, is that he's going to LA and he's cheating on her. But I don't know. I mean, from my memory, I don't remember how the episode ended, but it just seemed like he had a whole different life. Like that's
how it works.
Like she's looking at the things that he's purchased and was like this doesn't even seem like him. The guitar and the decor and that was oh gosh, that I don't even know a good way to describe it. If I find a word that's not a big old cuss word, but like
stuff. What? That's a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah,
you know that other S word.
Lot of stuff. Okay. Oh my gosh, it's like, what a coward you are, that you are that you will not reveal yourself to the people in your life.
Okay.
Honestly.
Is there a compassionate way to see him, perhaps? Just being the angel's advocate, like I did that. Is there a compassionate way to look at him?
A compassionate way to look at him? Absolutely. I think so. I could see there's some beauty in trying to discover who you are, right? And finding a safe space to do that.
Yeah.
There it is. That's a compassionate way.
That's all I got.
That's all I got. No, I mean, but in that though, man, I don't know the dynamics because we're just seeing it, through her eyes. I know people who've been in relationships where they have wanted to change. They no longer feel like the person that they are. They're growing, and the person that they're engaged with will not let them change. Like they just refuse to see their life that way, or they don't want to change and adjust. And I've seen that break up some relationships, right? I don't know if that's what Dee Dee set up for him, and that's I mean. I don't have a space to be compassionate. I'm angry with him right now. I'm angry.
That's great, because you're identifying with Dee Dee and identifying with her pain. But I always think about everybody when they make their decisions, they're making the best decision they can at that moment based on their life experiences and based on what they know is possible. So somewhere he doesn't know that I should be able to say and be who I need to be or want to be. I know.
And you're broke. You know what I mean? Like,
oh God.
They're broke. I should say, I should put broke in quotes, but
no money, debt.
Debt.
All of that.
He was out of work for 1.5 years. Yeah, like Sequence says, he's like, did she even know him? Right. That is. Woo, that's going to be a doozy. And we've seen stories like this where it's, someone trying to pick themselves up after finding out the truth about their spouse. But there's something about Dee Dee and the way that she seems to be navigating her world, because that, when she's broke down, it's like, how do you wrap your mind around someone who he's volunteering? Like, he was a whole different person.
So I said, is there a room for compassion about him? Right. But let me tell you, when she went to the house, to the people, and the way that she was behaving towards them, when she thought that she was meeting his wife, and then turns out she was meeting a woman who had a husband and all that kind of stuff. Did you expect that she would be a Republican and a person that seems to have some issues about her husband being an advocate because I think in this episode we find out that he was an advocate for some LGBTQ community or organization, and that seemed to shock her, and that shocked me about her character. I would have never thought that she would have that reaction. That didn't shock you?
No, she so strikes me as a Southern belle. Like,
I was so
you know,
surprised.
conservative. Like I
That
said,
hurt my heart
sugar.
a little bit.
Hey, sugar. Like I feel
Mm-hmm.
like that. Yeah. I definitely did. I wasn't surprised by that, but until is it Christ Envy? Until she wrote that, it just dawned on me that maybe he's identifying as part of the queer community. Like I hadn't even thought about that. I was just more like the idea that you don't know somebody by, you know, his interests and, you know, and that, you know, like this wasn't him cheating on her in a sense, at least for this the woman that she approached,
Mm-hmm.
but that it was he is like cheating. You can almost say I can wrap my mind around that. Oh my gosh, he infidelity, but
Mm-hmm.
that there's somebody who took a new identity
Yeah.
outside of you.
Mm-hmm.
Like who are you? Yes.
Yeah. But
Yes.
Dee
Yes.
Dee now, and you know I love me some Connie Britton, and I told you I wanted to get a hug, but I have to see, I can see some of her character flaws now.
Mhm.
She's high maintenance. She is high
Oh
maintenance.
yeah. Oh
And
yeah. I
when
could see
you
that
have
from before.
gotten into a relationship where your person is like demanding that you take care of them at a certain level, like that's hard work. She seems like she was a little hard work. All that shopping she was doing. He probably said, "Babe, we don't got the money." Oh, of course we got the money, Charlie. You've got the money. You're working. I don't know why that's the accent I'm doing, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's so it'll be interesting to see how that unfolds because the lie, I don't know. Like I think that I practice being authentic in my relationships, right?
Yeah.
But if your identity is wrapped up in a relationship and that changes, so that like he is the wealthy provider, he's taking care of his girls, and
Mm-hmm.
now you can't do that. Terry said, "Great imitation." Oh, your accent, yeah, very good. Yeah, I acknowledge that as well. Um, like you okay. So here's my compassionate side for him,
Okay.
right?
Mhm.
It is losing your sense of self, right? What happens when you lose your sense of self and you don't think you can become something different and with the person that you're with?
There's the question for the breakthrough right there. We about to break something
Yeah,
open with that. That's a question that
yeah.
will.
Yeah, because it's clearly the losing, like to tell a lie every day for a year and a half.
That's exhausting.
Every day for a year and a half, you are lying about your day to day. You're lying about who you are. You're not sharing your fears. You're not sharing your pain. You're not sharing your joys. Maybe there was some joy he got in not having that job anymore. Like you are laying next to someone and lying and then finding yourself the lonely pilgrim, right? Finding yourself
Still
in
not
another
sure what that
land.
means. Still not sure. We're going to have to keep tuning in.
Yeah. We'll get to that one. That's gonna be deep. Okay, so we didn't talk about my Ghanaian baby
Can
girl,
we listen? Yes, please. Let's talk about.
and then I know we're at our hour, but that she wouldn't speak was just heartbreaking, right? And that she's got this man who loves her, but who's a stranger to her on some level, her uncle, and they're getting displaced. They're losing their stuff. Like she has to leave that place. They're packing up all of her stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
he is trying to get her home with him. So she knows that his success is going to take her from everything that she knows. You know what I mean? He's like, I'm gonna take you back home. Like that's a lot, and I can't tell. She's not sitting in the grief meetings, right? Like she's
No.
playing outside. Okay,
Mm-mm.
yeah. Um, but so I do love the relationship that's brewing between him and Adriana. Like I think that's really sweet that she's
Yeah.
supporting him and it's connected with her. Like she's the one that helped her to kind of break through and speak again.
Yeah.
You know, and so he's like, I want you around because she's talking when you're around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But okay, also about him really quickly though, because this is a question that comes to me about him because he's being that person that's like he's trying to make, his niece happy and trying to get her to open up. But also, he lost his sister. He's probably going to have a moment at some point. There's
Mhm.
got to be a
Mhm.
moment that is going to be coming for him,
Yeah. Because they
right?
loved each other. You could see the love that they
Absolutely.
have for one another. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and also it's the loss of his sister, right? But it's also like you're now a dad.
Oh, yeah.
Like out the blue, your whole life changed,
Yeah.
and that is
Oop, I
that
lost
is
you. It's okay.
that's difficult.
Mm-hmm.
That's really difficult to contend with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm getting some feedback here on.
Okay.
Yeah, I would just be. You lost me. You lost me
No,
on
no, you're
Instagram.
here. You're well, Instagram. Yeah, we lost you on
All
Instagram,
right,
but
bye
Instagram, I
Instagram.
told y'all to come over to YouTube because
Yeah,
this is where it's
I
happening.
pressed the button.
Oh,
Maybe
it's okay. Yes,
I
Kwame
can't tell.
said that he was saying the same thing. He's now an
Okay.
instant parent, but
Yeah,
there's
the instant parent part.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. The instant parent is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was two instant parents,
Mm-hmm.
right? One who wanted to be a parent and who is like reluctant, and then you have this brother who is seemingly just trying to jump in the role and get her the right place. He jumped right into dad, right into I
Mm-hmm.
got you, you know.
Yeah.
But interesting how they're both handling. Thank you. They're
Mm-hmm.
both handling that situation differently.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool.
So much to unpack in this show. It's so beautifully written, such a stellar cast, if I
Yeah.
do say so myself. And I'm just really grateful and excited about the space and the conversations that this show is holding, because we need it. We need this
Mhm.
conversation. We can always have more room for love, more room for compassion, more room to see people and see ourselves. And this is some good stuff. This is some
Wait a
good
minute.
stuff.
Wait a minute. There's a good
¿Qué
comment
pasa?
in here. I wanna share the. It said, yeah. Do y'all think that his culture deals with grieving differently?
Ooh, Kristen
Very
V.
much so.
Yeah.
Very much so. Could be
Mm-hmm.
like it's. I hope we get to know a little bit more about it. I think that what we can see is that family is important, right? We can see that there was no hesitation. There's been no. It's like when he found out that this group, he said, I thought this group was about helping me, right?
Yeah.
Helping me physically, logistically, take care of my niece.
Yeah.
But all right, it can help me emotionally too. You know what I mean? Like he just I don't know. There's something about family we can tell is really, really important to him. And maybe it is the way of avoiding the grieving the loss of his sister is that I'll just focus on loving my niece
Yeah. And I
or
don't know if
just
he's
handling her logistics.
yeah, I don't know if he's avoiding it so much. I think he's just doing what he needs to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
What's in front
maybe
of him.
avoiding could be. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, and not maybe consciously, right? It's kind
Yeah.
of like I can't do anything about that plane crash, but what I
Right.
can do is try to get baby girl a passport. I could try to get her, we got to find a place to stay and so forth. So
Yeah.
it's interesting, and I when you see stuff like this, it kind of what's happening for me, right? Like when someone is going through a tragedy, it's hard for us not to try to think about ourselves in that scenario on some
Absolutely.
level. And I'm just going to say this for all of us to do something about, which is, are your affairs in order?
Oh,
Like, are your affairs in order, like straight up? And if not, what's one thing you can do to get your affairs in order a little bit more? I've got about 5 things that are in order, and I've got about 20 things that I need to get in order.
wow.
But just think about what a loving act that is to lead people to have space to grieve your loss and not be so consumed with the logistics that are left behind.
Mm,
It's a very loving act, and I know nobody wants to think about it, but I'm just putting it out there. Are your affairs in order? And that's on
wow.
whatever level of living you are, right? This isn't about age. It's just about love. Another way to love someone is to be in order.
Wow, Rev Sharia. I never saw that comment coming, but wow, yes, such a good question.
Mm-hmm.
I've got
Mm-hmm.
to think about some things and do some things because
Mm-hmm.
yeah. That is 11.
Or just one thing.
Just one thing.
Just do one
Exactly. Just
thing.
one thing. Yeah,
Just do one
absolutely.
thing. Yeah, you don't have to do everything. Just do one
Yeah.
thing, and
Mhm.
things will begin to shift, and maybe the next thing will occur to you.
Yeah.
But I try to learn from, I don't do anything frivolously, really. Like there's an intention behind everything that I'm doing, and even even behind things that are this is fun, mindless stuff. No, it's not. There's no such thing as mindless, right? You're always mindfully engaged in something. It's just, what are you doing with your mind? What are you allowing your mind to do? Are you, are you passively giving it over, or are you in control of it? You're never mindless. So, when I catch stuff like that, it's like, oh, that's why I was watching this. It's serving a purpose, because everything works together for my good.
Mm. And on that note, it's 11 after the hour. But this has been a wonderful conversation. I have enjoyed it. Have y'all enjoyed the conversation? Y'all still here? I know y'all who are here, y'all enjoyed it. So thank y'all so much for
Thank you for
joining
being
us.
here.
Yeah, expanding
Dear
this idea.
on Apple TV. New episodes drop on Friday. We're gonna talk what? 3, 4 next week?
Yes. So
3, 4?
next week we're going to talk about episode 3 and 4. So we're giving you all a chance to catch up. But after next week, we're just doing one episode at a time. So next week, yes, episodes. No, we just did 2 and 3. Next week is 4 and 5.
Okay, 4 and 5.
Yeah, 4 and 5. But yeah, you guys, if you say you're tuning in, but you haven't started watching Dear Edward, and I know we've talked a lot about the show, there's still so much that we didn't talk about, right? So go on over to Apple TV Plus and get your subscription. It's such a great affordable price for all that's there. You get Dear Edward, you get so many other wonderful shows, Severance, see so many wonderful
Ted
things.
Lasso. See, oh my gosh, see, it's so good.
Morning show. Hello.
Oh, the morning show is good. It's some good. Here's the thing about Apple TV. It's like they're doing quality entertainment. Like it's not like you go over there and it's a Netflix full of content that's all over the place. It seems to be really like they put a lot of energy into quality. So, and how could I not? My show. What is my basketball show that's on Apple TV?
Ted Lasso?
No, not Ted Lasso.
Well, that show's there too.
Is it Ballers? That's not it. Oh my gosh. I have so many friends that are on this show, and then it's not popping in my head. It'll come, but I'll talk about it. I'll talk about it next week. But just Apple TV. Apple TV is a worthy investment.
Absolutely. And before we go, tomorrow I am launching a new product, and it's called What You Talking About? Okay, What You Talking About? Did you see my announcement, Rev Sheree?
I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it?
I've been in the rabbit hole.
Okay, I'm gonna need you to go over to my page and check it out. We will be having a conversation with Dr. Greg Hall. He is a Cleveland native. Yes, and he has been. Yes, Cleveland is in the house. So many great things come from Cleveland, and he's been doing some wonderful work in terms of health and wellness in the African American community. So we're going to get a chance to talk to Dr. Hall. We have an amazing gift giveaway. So if you want to enter the raffle for that giveaway, go on over to my page on Instagram, Shamika Chronicles. Like the post, tag 3 people. Share it, and then attend the live tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central. And we're going to talk to Dr. Hall, and it's going to be another really great time. I'm really excited to introduce him to those who don't know him, and to really let you know about the really pivotal and healing work he's been doing for the African American community. So come back tomorrow.
Give me those times again.
8 p.m. Eastern. So 5 o'clock your time. So while you're driving home, just come on over to, we'll be live on Instagram, but we're doing this whole thing. Like I said, Instagram, you can watch, but if you want to jump in and talk and engage, we are doing that on YouTube. So Shamika Chronicles on YouTube, so that you all can ask the doctor. He has a wealth of information. Y'all want to ask questions, because a lot of us, we really don't be knowing stuff. Like, who reads the back of those bottles? Like the nutrition labels, right? Y'all want to ask questions. What do those words mean?
I read them, but I don't know what everything means. That's gonna be
See?
cool.
See that? We
Good
get to
night,
ask.
Terry.
Good night, Terry. T3P, my interns. If you don't have T3IP interns, I don't know what kind of interns you got, but my interns are fire. Fire, fire, fire. They're so good. So good.
They're so
Okay,
good.
y'all. I could go on and on and on, but I'm about to go learn 6
Oh,
pages
look at
for an
this.
audition. It's pilot season, y'all. So
All right. Go
got
ahead.
stuff to do.
Go
But thank y'all
be
so much
amazing.
for joining us. And Rev Cherie, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, love.
All right. Have a good night, everybody. Bye.